And welcome back to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Today's Pokemon team comes to us from JRC, who asked the question, what is Spider-Man's Pokemon team in hand? Now, to clarify, we will be looking at the Peter Parker Spider-Man. A, because it was not specified what Spider-Man you wanted me to do, and B, because when everyone just says Spider-Man, their 9 times out of 10 answer will be Peter Parker. If you want me to do a Miles Morales, a Gwen Stacy, a Miles Miguel O'Hara, I can do that, but we'll look at Peter Parker today. So believe it or not, this is not as easy of a team to create as you might think. This comes down to the fact that, now, did I get everyone on this team that I need to get here? So here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, okay, we're good. Just looked off. No, wait, maybe not. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, okay, we're good. Yeah. Because you would think with Spider-Man, well, yeah, you need spiders on the team, man. True, but if that were the case, I'd only right now have a maximum of 5 Pokemon, and only 3 of them are actually spiders. And even one of them is slightly debatable on that design, but only 3 of them are actually spiders. Now, allegedly in the rumor mill, spoilers for Scarlet and Violet, there is a new spider Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet. We haven't seen it yet, not even in leaks, but allegedly there is a new spider Pokemon, but I can't go with allegedly. So the one guaranteed spider Pokemon I had to put on the team came down to Galvantula, Ariados, and Aquanid or Aquarachnid or something like that. The aquatic water bug spider from Alola. And looking at the 3, I'm like, okay, it's an obvious choice which one it's going to be. It's going to be Ariados. Now, the reason for that is Galvantula's electric abilities don't go with Peter Parker. They actually, in terms of the signature spider Pokemon, go more towards, oh god, I just said his name earlier. Not Miguel O'Hara. The other Spider-Man, the black kid. Why am I blanking on his name? Miles Morales. Why did I blank on Miles' name? And I would go more towards Miles because he actually has an electric ability. And though there's nothing water about Spider-Man apart from the fact he can swim. So Ariados made the most sense. It also fits color-wise. It's actually black and red, which Spider-Man's costume has gone over many different changes. Usually it's black, red and blue, but it can be black and red as well. There is some purple, which you could argue is blue. Apart from that, though, besides learning, string shot, which would be, web fluid, in, I believe, electric web, or there's a web attack you can learn. It's also in terms of shape, the closest we get to kind of the spider symbol we see on his chest most of the time. Galvantula is based on a tarantula, so it's too big and thick. And Aquarachnid, I'm going to look up that one's name right now because it's bothering me, the pronunciation of it. The spelling of it I can kind of see in my head. But the pronunciations was bugging me here. Pun intended. Or was it? So, let me see. What was the name? Dewpider and Araquanid. That's what it was. I knew it was something with aqua and arachnid. Araquanid. Yeah, its head is too big. So, Ariados is actually the one that fits best with that design. So, beyond that, this is all going to be... Look, this is like the one guaranteed I had on this team. And I'll admit, I only just created this team earlier today. If I'd maybe spent another day on it, maybe I could have thought of something else. So keep in mind, this is my, not brief take, but earnest take at the time. Because when you actually break it down, in terms of Pokemon, there aren't a lot of Pokemon that fit a lot of aspects of Spider-Man's identity, Peter Parker's identity in life. One of the things I knew I wanted on team was something that represented his intelligence. But Peter Parker is a very smart guy. He makes that web fluid on his own. He's a chemist. He is, a straight A student and honestly a genius. But really, there's no psychic chemist type Pokemon, and there's no real psychic inventor type Pokemon. So I kind of got a little backed up on like what Pokemon could work best. I ultimately went actually with 2 different Pokemon, though there's a third one we'll talk about later on that could technically match up. And that is Gallade. Now, Gallade is a psychic fighting type. Now, this actually works a little bit well with Spider-Man's, ideology, not the ideology per se, but his presentation, if you will. This is due to the fact that Gallade's kind of a superhero type Pokemon. He's designed kind of like the prince to Gardevoir's princess. But as a psychic and fighting type, this lends him to being A, intelligent, and B, having a strong urge to protect others. This goes well with Spider-Man's motif, although there are definitely others that could work more in this one's favor. So there's that. The other one that ultimately made it on the list is a spider-like Pokemon, but it's not a spider. At least not in the sense that we know a spider. Because in ultimate truth, I don't know what you call Metagross in terms of its design. It's referred to as a predator. It does hunt other Pokemon and theoretically eat them. But in terms of its design, I'll admit, I've always been a little lost of what it's actually supposed to. I always loved Metagross. Metagross is one of my favorite Pokemon, especially among pseudos. And it's a beast. It is a monster on the battlefield. And it got a great Mega Evolution. But, I mean, it's got 4 legs, not 8, let alone 6. But it is spider-like in its design. It's got a body, it's got an abdomen, and it's got 4 spider-like legs. But add on to the fact that it is also a super intelligent Pokemon. You could make an argument this can represent the armored Spider-Man suit, or even one of the Spider Slayers we get in the animated series. So that's definitely an option. But one thing I knew was going to be on the team that I wasn't sure how to represent was something to represent the symbiote suit, the Venom suit. Now, that proved to be very true, because that is one of the few villains that I knew had to have some sort of identification on Spider-Man's team, because it was literally a part of Spider-Man for a while. So that actually made sense to be on the team. The question is, what the hell do you get to represent Venom in the Pokemon world? There is no Pokemon that is basically a symbiote that attaches to other Pokemon, and therefore is it enhances them, changes their appearance. With the exception of the Necrozma / Solgaleo and Lunala Necrozma, with the exception of that one, that's it. The Kyurem and Zekrom and Reshiram stuff, that's a fusion. Same with the Calyrex and Spectrier and Glacier. I can't remember the Ice Horse's name. Those are technically not even a fusion. That's just 2 Pokemon added on to each other. Not even fusions. So you can't really do that. And the closest you have to an actual symbiote in terms of physical design would be the Mux. And I'm no, Mux makes no sense. So I had to branch out a little bit in terms of idea. Okay, what is the Venom symbiote suit? Well, it's a symbiote alien parrot. Not even a parrot. It's an alien symbiote from another planet. Okay, we can work with that. Let's work with something extraterrestrial. And we do actually have it on good authority of several extraterrestrial Pokemon, definitely. And something that can merge with you still doesn't really add up, but something that A, is alien, B, has to do, at least on some level, with DNA, and C, transforms depending on certain situations, like the Venom symbiote transforms as host. Well, that's Deoxys. Deoxys actually makes a lot of sense. It is an alien virus that turns into a Pokemon. It's got these helix-like arms, which represent DNA. It comes from space. It changes forms based on the meteorite exposure, which is normal speed, defense, and attack. Now, is it a 1-to-1 comparison for Venom? Hell no. Would this probably be one of the Pokemon if I ever do a Venom? Well, whenever I do a Venom video, is this a Pokemon that would be on Venom's team? Probably. So, I don't know. I think this is the best we can kind of do for Venom until we get an idea for a Pokemon where it actually combines with not just the 2 box legendaries, but multiple other Pokemon. So that's the best I think we can do in that case. This next one, I'll be honest, I'm saving one for last because I actually kind of like the ideology behind the last one I'll do. But this next one, honestly, I needed a 6th spot. This is the last one I put on the team. I needed a 6th spot, and I needed something to represent Spider-Man's physicality. Because even though we have a fighting type on the team, it doesn't really represent my Spider-Man's physicality all that well. Because Spider-Man is not just a physically strong individual, he's an extremely agile individual. Even without his webbing, he is superhuman by a large standard. And so I needed a Pokemon of very physical caliber. And it turns out, that's not as easy as you think. I wasn't just going to put him a champ on the team, although that could have represented Man Spider to some level. But I wasn't about to put Machamp on the team just because of physical strength. I wasn't about to put like a Tyranitar because of its physical. No, I needed something that was at least wasn't just physically strong. So a fighting type usually falls in that category. I needed something that was also physically agile too, which ultimately came down to Infernape. Now, this might actually sound weird, but as I'm even thinking on now, this does fit a little better than even I initially implied. Despite the fact that it's a fighting type Pokemon, meaning it's already physically strong, it is an extremely agile Pokemon as well, and has its monkey fighting style Kung Fu, where it can fight on both its hands and its legs simultaneously, pretty much, and even I think balance on its tail and use its tail. This can actually represent Spider-Man's physical martial capability, because Spider-Man's actually not a bad martial artist at all. In fact, because of his spider sense, he actually has a very hard to handle fighting style because it's Spider Fu. And his spider sense makes his fighting style very OP because of that. Now, he's still not like the most unbeatable guy in the world, but it's a very capable martial arts style. So because of the way Infernape can fight, it's actually not as bad as a representation as even I thought. Now, that being said, I'm willing to hear other options for that Mon, absolutely. In fact, I'm always willing to hear other options for the team in general. The last Mon on the team, this one stuck out to me for several reasons. And the big one, believe it or not, is the representation of the spider sense. Now, this Mon is actually, you might think, wait, what? But hear me out of this. Absol. Now, I have a picture of Mega Absol. It doesn't have to be Mega Absol, but, maybe it bonds with Absol. Who knows? It can be a Mega Evolution. There's also the capability you could have a Mega Metagross or a Mega Gardevoir. But Absol is the disaster Pokemon. It is known as such, and it's because it's capable of predicting natural disasters, and that it's been called an omen, a harbinger of ill intent, an omen, because of all that. But it's all just a misunderstanding, because and if I remember correctly, yes, its designation is the disaster Pokemon, because it's just trying to warn people because it can sense this danger coming. And this goes perfectly with the spider sense. Peter Parker is warned about it. He tries to help other people. Doesn't always succeed. And even further, Absol is a pariah Pokemon to some degree. People seem to think half the time that it's a Pokemon that brings these disasters upon people. Like J. Jonah Jameson and other people kind of think that Spider-Man is more of a menace and a harbinger of ill will than a hero. So Absol actually fits very well with the concept of the spider sense. Add on to the fact also, and I'm just going to get Absol's what Absol's capable of learning in just a second here. Let's see here. Yeah, Absol can learn Detect. So because it can learn Detect, that also works towards the spider sense as well. Plus the Future Sight, which is more of an attack than anything else, but still. Yeah, Absol's always been one of my favorite Pokemon. I said that with Metagross, but I also said that with Absol. Gen 3, well, still not a perfect gen, is my favorite gen. It has a lot of great designs in it, and Absol was always one of my favorite. Remember the first time I saw that, I'm like, what the hell is this thing? I need to catch that. I loved. Gen 3 was the last gen I ever played where I legitimately didn't know what was in the Pokedex. So I was like just discovering these things on a whim. Like, this is so cool. Now we get data mines and all that, which is great. It's fine. I do kind of miss being surprised, though. I do kind of miss it. But at the same time, I wouldn't give up the data mines, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, this is the team for Spider-Man, in my opinion. Now, this team could be very easily subject to change, especially for anyone who has better ideas. I'm more than willing to hear them. In terms of a balance, though, it's really not that unbalanced of a team. There's only 2 Mon on this team that actually repeat a typing. And that is, actually, I take that back, 3 Mon, or 4 Mon. Psychic, no, actually, I take that back. There are 3 Mon. I take it back. But there are 3 psychic types, but 2 of them are dual type. 2 fighting types, both are dual type. You have 1 single stage psychic and 1 single stage dark, which means, and then you have a bug and poison type, which helps offset any of the, actually, bug and poison are strong against grass, fighting, if I'm not mistaken. But the psychic type's there too. Honestly, Ariados is probably the one guy that doesn't really need to be there. Oh, and dark types. So, but then again, you have Infernape for that. You have a fire type and a fighting type with Infernape, psychic and steel with Metagross, fighting and psychic, another fighting type, and dark. So, really not that unbalanced of a team. It's a little heavy on the psychic and the fighting, but both their weaknesses are canceled out by the other strengths. So, kind of evens out. So that's my opinion on the team. What do you think about this team? You like it? You hate it? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later.